Alright, so hello and welcome to this video. In this video I'll be teaching you how to write your very first C++ Hello World program. So let's get started. Go ahead and open Dev C++ if you've downloaded it from bloodshed.net, a freeware. Go ahead, create a file, new project, console application. Let's call it Hello World. Okay, so hit OK. I'm gonna save it here. I'm gonna save it in a new folder. I'm gonna call it Hello World program. Okay, here you go. I'm gonna save it right there, and this file you get there, remember to save it to as main. Okay, so this is your file. Open. You get this already written because these are very important bits of code. Now the new line you get right here is cout. Now I'm writing this code and I'll be explaining it later once this program works and you might basically know what cout is used for after seeing this. Alright, it says hello world. Okay, so let's see how this code works and what's behind this code. Alright, so here we have the same bit of code that's written in here that actually displays the Hello World program, the first program we ever wrote in C++. Okay, so here I'll be explaining how everything works. Now, the first thing you're gonna see when you look at the program is the include stuff. Now these include things are like very important because these files are included from the C library. Okay, the C language has a library. When you install your IDE and stuff, you have your C library, which has certain files you need to we need to include because these files should be relevant to our code and this should work, and this will work of course. You're going to include the files which you need. IOStream is used too much. We'll be talking about the includes in later, but just to give you the intuition, you get the picture. Now it's like if you have certain project to make, like a science project in which you have to write about dinosaurs, alright? So you go to your library, and bring books that are related to dinosaurs, and you make a project with it. You don't go there and bring books related to your cooking and recipes. Alright, so you have to get something that's relevant to your code, the code you're working. This gives you the picture, I hope. Now the using namespace standard below is written in the newer versions of C++, like Dev C++ and code blocks. If you're in Turbo C++, you don't really need to write it. Alright, so the next thing you come across is the int main and the stuff in here. Alright, so the int main, the main is it's a function. Alright, any word followed by parenthesis is a function. Okay, we'll be talking about function later, but main is an important function. It should be in a C program to make the program actually work. Now the next thing you see here is inside these is these stuff, the int, arg, c, char. We'll be talking about later, and you don't really need these in order to run your C program. Alright, so it will still run in order to run the Hello World program, but there are certain programs and with these characters are needed. Now the next thing you see here is I'll be leaving it, I'll be explaining later, but the first thing you see here is system pause and exit success. Now what system pause actually is when you compile and run this code, the code comes up and it shows yes, come on, it's compiled, and it goes back. Now system pause, what it does when the code comes, it halts it. It says wait, we want to see the code. It pauses it until we press a key or I close the window in order to get out of it. Now return exit success could be returned 0 and it would still work. You got 0 for header. These are Dev C++ default stuff and you gotta work with it. Now this basically means that the program returns no errors. Now coming to the important part of this is this thing here, cout. Now this is not a cout, this is cout, and these are its operators. Now whatever is built in this NL you write in there, that basically means and line, you see right here. Okay, so whatever comes between these, alright, if you have a hello world, it's a string, that means a letter. If it was a number or a variable, it didn't really need to come under these codes. Alright, so you write there anything, and this will just be displayed on the screen. Remember these two operators, and if you're writing a string, this should come between these quotation marks, otherwise it will generate an error. Only numbers like 2, 3, 4, and variables, whatever you initialize in your function, we're talking about variables later, come without quotes. They don't need quotation marks. Now this is how this function works, and I hope you enjoyed the vid, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.